getting the cameras. Those are the cameras. We do want to look up at there occasionally because if you're down like this, then they're only going to see the top of your head in all parts of the world that they see us in.
All right.
Because we're famous now. Okay.
You are.
Well, now with you, all the people that were excited to have you on, I haven't had that much action on a post in a long time. You must be notorious.
Both my friends joined.
That's it.
You should hope I do.
Here we go. Let me just turn this down and turn these two things up and up and up. Okay, welcome to the WTF. Let me make sure everything's set here. I hope that's the volume's okay. Henry, you might want to check and make sure the volume's okay if you can hear me. Welcome to the WTF. I'm Rhonda Shea, and my guest today is Robert Eamon.
Hello.
And I didn't do my traditional opening. I guess I better do it.
Okay.
Ready? This is a public service announcement from this station. Idiots are now assisting with the broadcast. Boy, that's never been truer.
Thanks.
I'm going to put my headset up a little bit. I want to make sure I can hear everything. Henry's in here making sure. Is that up high enough, Henry? Ooh, got the volume going. That one down? Okay, there we go. Henry's got it now. Now we got it. We're just making sure we can hear each other. A little bit of technical stuff, because, when Henry's not here, I screw up. That's pretty much the way it goes. So, I'm sorry, what?
Is that checked?
Yes, it's checked. So today's show is really going to be a lot of fun. I've got my friend Robert Eamon here, as I mentioned. Robert is a retired attorney.
Yes.
And
no longer licensed.
No longer licensed, and he is going to talk to us a little bit about his take on some of the legal issues that have been going on around the country. And I'm going to lower this. Oh, I'm going to lower the seat. That didn't work right. There we go. Because my feet weren't hitting the ground because I'm short. Whoops. There we go. I'm trying to hear my headphones, and I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing them, so I'm going to bring those up a little bit. Okay, there you go. Talk, Robert. Let me make sure I got you.
All right. Okay. I'm here.
I mean, he's here. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to chat about some of the things that have come up lately, and not the King Soopers coupons on there. Okay. And Robert, first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? I mean, I know you.
Okay.
We went to high school together, although we didn't know each other in high school. We knew some people that were similar, but we weren't friends in high school. Not that I wouldn't have been, I just didn't know them.
Yeah, I was a year older, and that was just forbidden to talk to the younger.
Yeah, the younger people.
Went to West High School together, and I'm a third-generation native of Colorado. My great-grandparents came here from Germany. My great-grandfather in 1882 and my great-grandmother in 1894. They were immigrants, and the United States gave them 160 acres of land to farm 20 miles east of Castle Rock, and that's what we are, a land of immigrants. Glad to be.
I know, isn't that wonderful? My grandparents came here from Italy as well, and so on one side of my family, the other side had been here for all the way back to President Zachary Taylor, which was an ancient ancestor of mine.
I've been doing ancestry research, and all I knew originally was the Eamon great-grandparents and my Irish maternal grandmother. And now I found I have relatives that go back to Virginia when it was a colony, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
It's something, isn't it?
We're immigrants.
Well, we all are. We're a nation of that.
Right, and it's a great thing.
I'm sure glad that the days of villainizing immigrants are soon to be over.
Soon to be over.
Soon to be over.
No kidding. No kidding.
And speaking of that, I'm going to tap into probably law school that you took many years ago. But
yeah, I graduated in '88 from law school, so common law was 1985 and '86.
Wow.
But I have a working knowledge of
well,
it.
and things haven't changed too much in terms of the Constitution.
No, my memory has. But
your memory has, yeah.
The Constitution has.
You were talking to me yesterday, and you said right before it came out, you said there's no way the Supreme Court is going to hear that case.
Right.
Why don't you shed some light on that to our listeners? Because everyone was kind of nervous about it one way or another, no matter what side you're on. But truly, I didn't feel it was ever going to hold water. But let's see what.
So, as most people know, the Attorney General from Texas, who is sworn to take an oath to defend the Constitution when he's a member of the bar, and sworn to defend the Constitution when he was inaugurated as the Attorney General, filed a lawsuit suing 4 different states saying you need to invalidate their election, which everyone knows has no legal basis whatsoever. And then 17 more Attorney Generals joined in. They all took an oath to the Constitution twice as well. And I was a trial attorney for almost 30 years. I did about 70 to 80 civil trials. And any trial attorney worth his or her salt knows the laugh test. The laugh test is you never ever file something with the court that the judge is going to laugh at you at, because you might get sanctioned and it'll ruin your reputation, and reputation's everything. This lawsuit that they filed didn't pass the laugh test, and the U.S. Supreme Court, 9-0, said no, they wouldn't even take it, which there was a little part of me that wanted Ted Cruz to go and get decimated by the justices at oral argument because he said he was going to argue it, but I didn't want it to be dignified with a presence and an argument at the court.
Right.
So
I think that would have further divided the country.
Would have.
It would have made it. And I think the fact that the court is dominated by conservative justices, 3 of which are Federalist judges, and consider themselves to be original constitutionalists, and we're going to talk
Right.
about that in a minute, should put this to rest with many of the people that keep thinking that this is not right. Because it's their people that they wanted in that decided this was bogus and BS and not going to happen.
right, but it won't end it because they're making money. I
Well,
think
they're making money, yeah.
I think $207 million since the
Yeah,
election so far.
$207 million they've raked in, and the fine print, of course, it can
God,
be
if
used.
I
It
could
doesn't
fi-
have to be used for
Yeah,
anything.
if I could
other
file something and people give me $207 million for something bogus, I might do it too, but I'm not the president.
Yeah.
I'm not hitting the democracy down. So.
Yeah, I think that I'm very pleased to see that
Yes.
the safety measures in the Constitution have stood up to fascism, and we've stopped this. Now,
Yes.
and the other way around too. I mean, had he won, he won. There's nothing you can do about it,
Right.
And that.
And
makes
what are we
sense.
teaching our children? Don't be, we're teaching our children that if you lose, you
Fight.
whine and complain about it.
Until you get your
rather
way.
rather than okay, you lost, so
Right.
do better next time.
Now,
Yeah.
what I was going to say is the originalists, the people that claim they're originalists in the Constitution, I think that's a joke and kind of funny, because if we really want to be an originalist, if you want to go back to the exact meaning of the Constitution, then women can't vote.
That's right.
Black people are 3/4 of a person. They can't vote. Only people who own land can vote.
Right.
Only men, So
And
you-
the originalists, there was no internet, there were no cars, there were no planes, there were no trains. So if you want to be a true originalist, you have to go back to horse and buggy days, and when hardly anyone had the right to vote. So it's a cover for overtly far-right conservatism that has given it the moniker of acceptability, which it just doesn't have a good basis.
I think it's a dog whistle for
It is too,
racism
yeah.
and for
It is.
oppression of certain groups of people.
It is.
And, because they try to use that for everything, but, okay. If you want to go back to the original, then guess what? Most of us couldn't vote.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. Well, I am glad to see that our Supreme Court, and so far, other than the church decision, the fears that I've had over being a completely conservative or mostly conservative Supreme Court have not come true.
Right.
They have actually walked their line, and they've walked it well.
And the state courts, the federal courts throughout the nation, the appellate courts throughout the nation on the federal level in the U.S. Supreme Court, but the state courts have too. There was, I think, 50 or 60 lawsuits filed by the trumpeters since the election. One of them won, and that was to say that the Republican election watchers could move 4 feet closer, 4 or 5 feet closer
To watch. Yeah.
And that was the only one.
This was the most
that was it.
observed election in
Yeah.
history. And what I love is all the misconstruing. Like they showed these suitcases of votes, and one of the right wing, and they
I
said,
know.
these suitcases of votes were brought in. Of course, that's how they transfer votes. They bring them in those containers, and they're locked and sealed, and then unsealed in front of the election watchers. So there's been a whole lot of misinformation on the election, and
misinformation.
nothing is proved to be false. Nothing,
No.
nothing is
And
proved to be
Sidney
false.
Powell, how did she ever pass the bar exam?
Oh my God!
She had to have had some brain power someplace, but suddenly she's attributing this to a dead Hugo Chavez and all sorts of other.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy,
They've gone off
crazy
the
stuff.
rails. The
Yeah.
QAnon.
Yeah.
QAnon.
Yeah.
There's a couple million people that believe it and subscribe to
Yeah,
QAnon
they're
theory.
scary too.
Well, it's the people that would have been institutionalized had we not gotten rid of the institutions. It's like there's lizard people, and there's the Earth is flat, and it's like I love my favorite is that JFK is still alive and he's going to come back and support Trump.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That- I hadn't heard
that would
that
happen.
one. I hadn't heard that one.
Oh, that's a big deal. They thought he was going to take the stage at the big Trump rally in North Dakota by the monuments,
Oh,
and
my.
they all had Trump like JFK masks, and he was going to come out and announce that he was not really dead. He was against the Democrats because they killed his father, and going to be the running mate of Trump. That was the biggest.
Wow, I hadn't
Yeah,
even
they had
heard
shirts
that
on
one.
it and everything.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I hadn't heard
Yeah,
that
it's pretty
one.
crazy. So we got to get away from those crazy theories. We need to
Okay.
get back to, as a country, we need to get back to the Republicans and the Democrats and maybe a third party, because I think we need one, But the Republican Party needs to reclaim their party.
They do.
I was a Republican until about 5 years ago. All my life, started when I was 18, and believed in the fiscal responsibility of the party and the social justice the party stood for. I mean, they were the first party to bring up universal health care for our public. Richard Nixon had that on his agenda. So they were a really strong, vibrant alternative to the Democrat Party at one point. And both of them worked within the guidelines of the Constitution and of democracy. And unfortunately, the Republican Party sold its soul, and they've been hijacked by far, far right people who have nothing to do with the original values of that party.
Very true.
And if they don't get back to it, they're gonna lose that party. I mean, they just
because they're shrinking in numbers just by age.
Well, and they're doing a lot of harm to those theories and those concepts
They are.
because people don't want to be a part of that.
They are.
And the same thing with, I believe Trump has done more to hurt Christianity than Satan. I mean, people don't want to say they don't want to say they're Christian anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's become a different word. It doesn't mean love and kindness and compassion and walking in the ways of Christ anymore. What it means is we hate you, and we're going to force our law. We're going to be Christiabans instead of Talibans and force Christian law on you.
And there are plenty of really good Christians.
Oh, there's millions of them
that are loving and caring. But you're right, too many of them. It's a cover, and they need to get back to like the Catholic priests that used to lead the Vietnam War protests.
And the nuns that chained themselves to rocky flats. And
let's get back to that
the preachers that preached against, violence and war. And now what we have is these people that are they're nut jobs is what they are.
We need to be able to have intelligent discussions and with Republicans and Democrats in Congress and agree and then disagree. Get stuff done, and then go out to lunch or have a beer together or something.
Start on the basis that we have some basic rules and laws in this country that we're going to stick with. And that's what they've gone off the rails. And speaking of that, what do you think about the movement? I don't know if you've heard about this, but the Democrat Congress is requesting that the Speaker of the House not seat the 106 or 120 Republicans that actually signed up on this lawsuit because they were really trying to subvert democracy. And there is a constitutional amendment that allows them not to seat people who are subverting our democracy. So what do you think about that? You think they should not seat those Republicans, or should they?
I think the principle is well founded, but I don't think you put out a fire by creating another fire.
Yeah, I agree.
So shame on them. Hopefully their constituents will remember that later. But it's so ironic that some of those people were saying that these elections weren't valid, and yet they were on the same ballot.
And they won.
And they won. So theirs worked, but not this other one. But I get it. I get it. It's somewhat like the idea now of people saying, well, Trump, when he's out, we need to, persecute or prosecute him and throw him in jail. Wouldn't that be? I'm conflicted because you need to be able to punish someone and not let it go unpunished.
Well, it can't be political.
Right.
Okay? So here's the deal, in my opinion. You cannot persecute Trump, as much as I don't like to say the word, but you cannot persecute him for doing legitimate jobs and disagreeing with policies.
Right.
That is not right.
Right.
You can if they find evidence that he has been doing grafting, been taking the bribes that they're suspected of for pardons, if there's actual law broke.
Right.
And there has to be a difference. And if there's a gray area, I think you're going to have to fall in favor of not prosecuting.
Absolutely.
I mean, I hate to say that.
And he sucks the room all the air out of the room, and if we go after him, he'll suck all the air out of Biden's presidency, and in 2021 and 2022, we'll still be talking about Trump every day.
I know, I don't.
That is not something I want to
do. After 2020, I'm not saying that name ever again. Unless he goes to jail party, or he dies and I'm
unless
having
you're playing poker and you have a Trump card.
Yeah, Trump card. I'm going to change that anyway. We're going to go with the Biden card. Did you see Arden, a friend of ours, Arden, made a post, and she said, right about now, she said, Biden has won the election so many times that he's now the 67th president of the United States.
Arden, we love you.
Went over and over and over. Arden, I got to get her on here. She's the funniest person I know.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's really kind of interesting, and I think if we're going to heal, we're going to have to all take a step back and a deep breath.
Yeah.
And as much as there's nothing on this earth that I would love more than to see the most dishonest president I believe we've ever had in jail, but we cannot do that for policy. We cannot do that because of political hatred.
And we won't heal the country.
It will wreck our country.
We won't.
We have to walk it back.
It's a tough one. It's a tough
one. But
there
was like I think it's 106 lawsuits that and legal actions that were filed prior to him becoming president that have nothing to do with his presidency. So those should move forward. But
Finally.
but again, like I said, I don't think we should persecute or prosecute either one based on policy, but on
Based
crime.
on politics, not on
Crime,
politics, right,
on
right.
crime, not politics or policy.
Right.
And so I disagree with many of the policies, but they're not illegal. You know,
Well,
or maybe
yeah.
they were in how they initiated, but that's
Yeah.
not something you go to jail for.
No, it's not.
You know,
It's
so
not.
this lock him up and lock her up stuff has to stop.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
has to stop if
Yeah.
we're going to heal. It has to
It
stop.
does, it does, it does.
So let me ask you a question. Let's move on to some other topics.
More fun things.
More fun things, because you are a fun guy.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about, what do you want to talk about first? The gay men's chorus?
Let's talk about the Denver Gay Men's Chorus. So, I had the honor in August of 2019 of auditioning for and being accepted into the Denver Gay Men's Chorus. It's something that when we were students at Arvada West High School, I was so closeted, as was everyone else, and never thought I'd have that freedom. And so it was a wonderful, empowering experience. The Denver Gay Men's Chorus is coming up in 2021-2022 season will be our 40th anniversary. And
Wow. It's great, too.
it is. There are so many talented people, and it started in 1982. And just think about it, 1982, as a gay man going in and singing, as a gay man, you were potentially losing your job, you're potentially losing your family. They're very, very, very brave people. I didn't start till a year ago. I wasn't that brave. But we got started in the pre-COVID. Our program is called Motown and More. And it was wonderful. We had one performance before things got shut down. And there's so many talented people there. Our director, James Knapp, hi James.
Hi, James.
Is wonderful, talented, nationally and probably internationally known. Our associate director, Raul Dominguez, you know I adore you. He is a graduate student at the University of Colorado Boulder, working on his doctor's in musical arts and choral conducting. I think he's about halfway through that. He's our associate director. And we all want to get back in singing, but of course we can't, because singing creates aerosols, and aerosols are where the vaccine goes, or not the vaccine, the virus, and so we can't.
Right.
So hopefully, depending on how the world works in 2021, my understanding, I'm not a spokesman for the DGMC, but hopefully by September of 2021, we can start practicing again.
Oh,
We
that'd be awesome.
have our holiday concert in 2021, which of course we weren't able to do all that this year, and then do their 40th anniversary in
And I
2022.
will say, if you have ever had a chance or not had a chance to see the Denver Gay Men's Chorus perform, they are absolutely phenomenal. It is worth going, it's worth seeing, it's worth every penny and more.
There are
So I could not say enough wonderful things about it.
so many talented people. One I want to mention in particular, a friend of mine, really close friend of mine from the choir, there are so many, Jacob Bloom. Jacob, hi Jacob.
Hi, Jacob Bloom.
Jacob graduated from the University of Colorado last year with the computer degree. He's a computer coder by day, but when the virus hit, he's got this talent. He wrote this really clever song, which you can see on YouTube, called All I Want's a Single Living Person for Christmas. He sent a copy of it to Rhonda.
I didn't get that, though.
You didn't get
No,
it?
I didn't see it. So we'll play it next
damn.
week. We're going to play it next week.
We're going to
Yeah.
play it in a couple of weeks, but Jacob, if you go, no one do it now, after the show, go on YouTube and type in Jacob Bloom, B-L-O-O-M.
Just put Jacob Bloom in
Yeah,
and find it.
COVID
Yeah.
Christmas, you'll see him holding a sign saying, "Help Santa." It's clever, it's fun, and it's just one
It's
of
a
the
great,
examples.
it's a great parody. It's a great fun
Yeah,
song,
it's-
and Jacob Bloom is the man who put that together, and it's on YouTube. And we were going to try
Yeah.
to do it today, but I ended up I didn't get to the computer in time to get it loaded.
Oh.
So I will put it on my Christmas show, which is going to be the day after Christmas. We're going to play just music, and we will put that in there and kick the show off with it.
Great.
For Jacob.
There you go.
And if you get any other parodies, Jacob, just send them my way, because we'll play them. Because you're
Oh.
good. He's good.
He is. He's really talented. He has a great voice, but it's clever writing,
Mm-hmm.
clever words, lyrics. Very proud of him.
Becky Montgomery's on here. Blah, hi, hey,
Hi,
Becky.
Becky.
And, Kathy Myers Mace. Hi, Kathy. She's such an angel. I'm gonna brag about you, Kathy. Kathy works in a care home.
Yes.
And when you see the things that she does with
Oh.
her residents, I'll tell you what, if you're going to have to be in a home, it'd be the one that she's running. It
Yeah.
is amazing, and she has taken such good care of them during this really hard time for her and her family and for all the residents, and the love in her heart for those people. You are truly one of the people everybody who does this frontline stuff. But Kathy, I know you, and I don't know everybody else. You're truly an angel.
You
and
are.
What you're doing for our people in those assisted homes should be recognized.
And you deserve the front row of the vaccine.
You do.
All the people, all the healthcare workers in the hospitals, doctors, nurses, staff, people like Kathy in residence home. You guys take them all.
Yeah, they're doing such great work, and it's so hard right now for people in the homes because they're isolated, and to come up with ways and programs to try to make them feel a little more loved. And she does that all the time anyway. It's really great. So there, we're singing your praises because we love you. Cindy Ludwig's on. Cindy Newton Ludwig. Hi, Cindy.
Cindy.
How are you? So anyway, Robert, we talked about the Gay Man's Chorus. The other thing that you do, which I find fascinating, and you've given me some private tours that way, is you are a docent for the Denver Historic, not hysterical.
Not hysterical
okay.
Denver. Historic
Denver.
Yeah.
And could you talk a little about some of the history and some of the things that you do and
Sure.
walking tours? And
Sure. Be glad to. Very proud to be associated with Historic Denver. This very week, is the 50th anniversary of Historic Denver. Historic Denver was started 50 years ago when a group of people bought the Margaret Brown house, otherwise known as Molly Brown, saved it from being torn down. It was so close to being torn down. And then they started trying to keeping Denver, Denver, I think is one of the phrases, something like that. Saving buildings from being torn down, both homes, residential homes and old mansions and commercial areas. A very wonderful woman, Dana Crawford.
Oh, I love her.
She gave the impetus to changing this thought in Denver. In the 1960s, Larimer Street was Skid Row. It was ugly storefronts. It was just horrible, and it was going to get torn down. Literally, all of it was going to get torn down.
Bulldoze the whole street.
Dana was not elected. She was not appointed. She was not asked. She just did it. She went out and she got herself, her husband, and other people to quietly, secretly buy up the 1400 block of Larimer Street, which we all now know as Larimer Square. But for her, all of that would be gone. It would have been completely torn down. So from that, Historic Denver started protecting neighborhoods, protecting buildings and commercial areas as well. I have the privilege of being a docent. I applied last year and they took me, and there's really extensive training. And it's so privileged because people like Mark Barnhouse and Amy Zimmer are local experts in Denver, and they come in and they train us. We have big, thick notebooks that printed out to read, and we have to get certified on whichever tour you're going to be a part of. So right now, the Molly Brown House is still open for small tours. Normally in the winter, we don't give walking tours, but if you call Allison Salutes, hi Allison, at Historic Denver, she could set you up. But we give tours of Capitol Hill, walking tours outside in the air, mass.
This would be a great thing to do for a holiday, since you can't do much else, you know.
Capitol Hill, Lodo, and Larimer Square. I'm certified in Larimer Square. Once you do all the studying, you have to go on a tour and get certified before they let you go. So many great people that I'm associated with there. They all love Denver. They love Denver history. We're determined to be accurate in our data and what we give people, and it's fun. But at Larimer Square, there's a whiskey tour that goes on every so often.
Let's do that one,
That's
Robert.
not us.
I think you and I should go do that.
Yeah, but that's not us. And I heard the whiskey tour telling them Denver got started by Quakers that had a barrel of whiskey, and they all drank their whiskey. I'm like, that didn't happen.
That's so funny. And I think Dana Crawford, if I remember correctly, they consulted her, and she was part of the revitalization of Old Town Arvada as well.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and so she really is amazing. She's done a lot for our community.
The Crawford Hotel on 17th Street
fabulous.
is named after her, renamed after her. Also, the Crawford, the Oxford Hotel.
Oxford, yeah.
Oxford is, I think, it used to be owned by her, maybe not anymore. The Crawford Hotel in Union Station is named after her. Yes. One of the buildings on Larimer Street. But I love Denver history. This town got started in 1858. As far as
we've done pretty good for a bunch of gold miners and hookers.
That's kind of what it was.
That's pretty much what it was.
So, what's now Market Street first started out as McGaw Street, and then became Holiday Street. And McGaw and Holiday was red light district. So after a while, the Holiday family asked to have it turned to something else. So that's why it's Market Street now.
Yeah, that's pretty much throughout the whole West, you know.
It was.
People wonder what's going on at the West. Why are we so independent? Because we were founded by a bunch of crazies that got in wagons and or horses and came out here to dig gold and live in tents and starve. And then the first groups of women that came out were certainly almost all hookers. You know? So many of us, if you grew up here, you might have been descendant of one. But I think that's kind of funny. Yeah. And you know what I think is funny? I like your mask. We're wearing masks today because we want to demonstrate that you can do anything in a mask. And
it's covering our nose and our mouth.
Because we want to be safe, even though we've been very careful.
We both have.
You have to lead by example, and it's very important right now, especially in the states where it's spiking here.
And my mask is made of hemp.
And we're going to eat it after the show or smoke it.
You inhale. You can inhale.
We're going to smoke his mask after this.
Yes.
Now, and you know, you live history because Robert, this is kind of a little bit of a story personal for him and a little personal for me. Yeah. My grandparents had a home in this old part of City Park West.
City Park West, yeah.
Which was a very old part of Denver off of 17th and big home there. And Robert's home is in that area as well. And he and his partner Patrick, hi Patrick, we love
Patrick,
have restored this home. And I mean, you got to tell about some of the stuff you've done. It is amazing. And it is back to the original everything, every detail except like the kitchen and bathroom because you can't do that.
Well, original as much as we knew. There wasn't much. It was a hot mess. We bought it in 2017 at the height of the market. Very brilliant. But there was, it came on the market on a Friday, and they decided on Tuesday, so they had 80 showings and 25 offers, and we were number 2. But we talked about how we wanted to turn it back to a single-family home and try and bring back what it would have been. And that's what won us the bid over the flipper. So we took it down to the studs. We put a new roof on it. We took the paint off the brick, which was a nightmare. We don't even want to go into that. But
it's beautiful.
But it's all new plumbing, all new HVAC, all new electrical. So it's a new house in an old shell. And then the hints of things we reproduce. So like the windows, 50% of them can be saved, 50% are new, but the new ones are made within 3 millimeter specification of what the old windows are like.
And the whole house is that way. The door frames, the work, the cornice work, the work on the hand-carved door frames. Oh my God.
All of the
light
sashes.
fixtures. We'll talk about the light fixtures.
Yeah. So we put it back to what we thought it might have looked like, and we saved the wood floors where we could, and then what do they call it? We leafed them in.
Oh yeah.
Whatever, where they weren't, but they're old growth Douglas fir floors. But the bathrooms are new in the old spots, and also then the kitchen's new.
The kitchen's stunning.
And then there was a basement that was about 2/3 of the house, which was the coal room, and there was a coal chute, and that's where they would shoot the coal in. And there had to have been a furnace there because we found a chimney chute from that area. Furnace is gone, and that's how they heated the house. So we turned the coal room into, well, the city of Denver says it can't be a bedroom because there's no closet, but it has it's not drywalled out. So there are 2 walls that are brick from 1890, and there are 2 walls that are the original hand-carved stone from 1890. So it's a storage room with a king-size bed and a 3/4 bath, and it's a great guest suite.
And when I was little, I had gone to visit some friends of my grandparents in some of those older homes like that, and their home was like that. And this home is stunning. It is back. I mean, it is back, and it is beautiful. And
thank you.
I had a chandelier that was left from my grandparents' home when they sold it, and it was a I don't know what you call it. It looks like a tiffin, but it's not a tiffin. But it's
it looks like Tiffany, but
And I gave that to Robert and his partner because I wanted it to go home and be in a restored home. And every time I go there, it brings me such happiness to see it.
And it was funny. She brought it in a box, and she said, "Now you don't have to take it if you don't like it." And we didn't want to take it out of the box. We just looked at the top. We said, "Oh, it looks pretty good."
And they're thinking, "Oh, what are we gonna say to her? It's really ugly." I could just see them, the 2 gay guys going, "No, hurt her feelings."
So we got it restored, and the people that did the restoration raved over it because it had lights on top and lights on the bottom. And her grandmother's house, we walked past it a couple times together. It was just 2 blocks west and 2 blocks north, so it's right back in the same neighborhood. And Ron,
fully restored. I want to bring my Uncle Frank. Usually listens. He's I'm sure he would love to see it.
Yeah.
So one of these days we'll bring some of the family members over to see it.
Sure, that'd be great.
But my mother had it, and I had it in my house in southeast Denver for many years, and the reality of that was when I moved, it just didn't fit anymore. And so then it sat in a box
Style
for
and
like 7
fashion.
years. And
Slaves to style and fashion.
it sat in a box for 7 years, and it was just, what am I going to do with this? And I had some people who wanted to buy it, but I just didn't want that to happen. It was so special. And when I heard that you were doing the house over, I was like, this is where it's going to belong, and I hope they liked it. And I could tell when you first saw it that you did. It fills my heart with joy.
The really odd thing, we had bought and selected all of our light fixtures for every room in the house 8 months before you came up with this. That was the only room that we hadn't. We're like, well, we'll think about that sometime later. And
it was meant to be.
Yeah, it was meant to be, and it's lovely. It really is lovely.
So what are you going to do over the holidays? Because obviously you really can't get together with many people. I mean, what do you I have a thought about that, but let's,
well, the first thing I think is no whining, no complaining, folks. We're lucky we have a roof, we have heat, and we have water and food and a bed, and there are lots of people that don't have that much. And if you're in the military, you're overseas or you're somewhere else in the nation anyway, and you're missing your family year after year. So, no, just, I'm tired of, it's tough on all of us.
We'll get by.
We'll get through it. We'll get through it, right. But I like to find awe. I read an article, it's about finding awe. And if you walk outside, I read it in October, and it's like, just find something that's beautiful and stop and watch it. Not with your video camera, and don't take a picture of it, just enjoy it, immerse yourself in it. So I did that, and it's really, really inspiring. It's like I was watching the wind whip around leaves in the autumn of trees, and we're watching the snow fall, and just finding the beautiful things of nature, the beautiful things of the world, and you can make a lot of headway that way mentally.
And we can reflect on the real meaning of those holidays.
Right.
We can take time to do that this year. One of the things I'm doing, and I hope I'd like to encourage anybody else to do, is usually we have a giant Christmas party with about 70 people. And then I'm sick for 2 weeks after Christmas every year. And then we have a Christmas dinner with all kinds of family members. We either go to my cousins or they come here. But just the holiday party and the dinners alone, imagine how much money we spend on those parties. I mean, I spend a lot of money on those parties. And dinners, if you're having a dinner for 10 or 20, in our family we're Italian, so there's small as 10. If you're not doing that this year, then it would be a great year to take the money you would have spent for your holiday meal, the money you would have spent on your holiday party, and donate that today, because it's desperate, to a food bank.
Yeah.
And I promise that will help remove some of the sting of not having your family there, knowing that you're feeding someone else's.
I go walking 5-6 times a week, and for 2 miles, sometimes 3. One of my paths I take is past a place called Metro Caring. They're on 18th Avenue and Downing, and it's a food bank that the pedestrian lines are longer every day. The car lines are longer every day, and it's a great place called Metro Caring, great place to make a donation.
If you're saving $50 because you're not having family over, or 20, or 100, or 200, make a donation to a food bank, anyone you want, but make that donation, because people need it. It's unbelievable how much food insecurity there is right now in this country. Look at Becky sent us a note. She said, it's a beautiful home, and your chandelier looks perfect in it. It does. It really does. And it was a beautiful journey home, too. It came home to where it belonged.
Yes.
It just makes me so happy.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. The whole thing was a win-win all the way around.
It was meant to be, really.
It was. So, give to food banks, give to Denver Gay Men's Chorus.
That would be a good one, too, because that's a great
DenverChoruses.es.org. Historic Denver is a great one to give to. I'm obviously partial to those.
There's an artist, if you're an artist or a musician, there's a musician's food bank that Dazzle has. So if you go to Dazzle's website, you can donate there, and it's for musicians, because the people in the arts are really hurting because you can't perform now. You can't do it how you made a living, and the bars can't. And
do it local.
Yeah, do it local.
Is my thought. Go to restaurants and get takeout locally, and go to mom and pop restaurants. There are so many all over Denver and the metro area. Go to the mom and pop restaurants. They're really, really needing something. And we give them 30% tips now. We're cheering for them.
I know. It's like, here.
We want you to stay. Don't leave.
How about the poor jazz club that just closed? Oh my God, it's been there 106 years.
Yeah.
El Chappaquiddick.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that.
That's it, right?
What she said.
But anyway, I mean, we're
Chalapateca?
I can't. It's a long, funny name. I just know I went there. I never could say it.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say too is Coloradoans, I know we have people from all around the world, and I'm sure this is true in your state too, but we stand strong and we stand proud, and we're going to help each other.
Yeah.
And I'm going to feed people that are red or blue. I don't give a darn. You know, we're going to take care of each other until we get through this, and we're close. The vaccine's going to come. It'll take about a year. Not everybody's going to get it. But we have to stay strong. We have to wear those masks. I can't, and then smoke his mask when we're done.
Well, or just keep inhaling. Inhale through the head mask.
It's pretty fun. What I think is funny is they now have made it like DoorDash, but it's Pot Dash. You can actually order your food, and they deliver it to you. What do they got to call that instead of Uber? No. I know what they call Uber.
Dude.
You know what they call Uber? You know what they call Uber in Alabama? It's a guy in a pickup truck with no teeth, and they call it Goober. but
maybe it's Chill Dude.
Yeah, Chill Dude delivery or whatever.
Yeah.
You gotta think of something anyway.
I have another suggestion. My partner Patrick is such a kind person for food insecurity. He gets $10 gift cards from like McDonald's and other fast food places, and when people come up asking for money, he'll give them a gift card.
That's
that way,
idea.
Because if they really are hungry, they'll take it, and it's a marvelous thing to do, and it's, it's just a really good idea. So I'm passing your idea on, Patrick.
Yeah, it really is a good idea. There's so many people. I carry socks in my car, and I carry granola bars, and I carry teddy bears that are new in the package. So when someone is saying that they need to help with their children, I hand them a pair of some socks, and I hand them some teddy bears, and things like that. Because you don't know for sure. I mean, it's really difficult to know for sure if these people are legitimate. Let's know. Now, my thought on that is you help anyway, because they got to answer to their creator for lying, and I have to answer for walking by someone in need. So
I think the other thing important with all of this isolation, because very few of us are quarantined, unless you really are. You have the virus, you have to quarantine or be exposed. We're in isolation. We can, like, I'm 65, so I can go to King Supers at Costco during the senior hours. It's really marvelous. There's hardly anyone there. But keep in touch with your friends. Keep in touch with your family. Two of my friends, Martin and Jacob, same Jacob Loon and Martin Mercer, right when the virus hit, we were talking, and I realized that they had never, they're much younger than I am, they're in the 20s and one's 30, and they had never seen The Godfather, part 1, 2, or 3. So we decided on a Thursday night, we would all rent The Godfather, start it simultaneously, and then we chat on Messenger. So we're all in different homes, and we're socially distanced, but we chat. So at the end of those Godfather 1, 2, and 3, those first 3 weeks,
you'll come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding.
But we now continued it. So almost every single Thursday night since the virus has started, we pick another movie, and we.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it rotates, and it's a really simple thing that you can do, and. They're exposing me to movies. I'm exposing them to.
You're exposing.
I'm exposing.
Okay, you're a
it's really fun. It's really fun, and it's a great way to keep in touch with friends and to feel that human connection and be 100% safe. So try that idea. Find some friends to go and rent a movie on Netflix or Amazon Prime, and all start at the same time, and you can coordinate it and synchronize it. It's really fun.
I have a friend in Illinois that, I don't know if she's still on, her name is Lynn Turnbull. Her nickname is Balls, and not for a bad reason. It's just, I have to always say
it's
that.
It's a nickname.
It's a nickname. And we watch, there's a couple of shows that we've done that with, but we've had fun and just do that, because we both
and if you want to laugh, watch Schitt's Creek.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
Isn't that great? If you haven't watched Schitt's Creek, you need to.
I'm in season 6, the last season, and I used to watch 2 or 3 at a time, and now I'm down to 1 every other day because I don't want it to end. And I'll go back and watch them again probably, but it is so
it's so
clever, funny.
It really is.
Trust me, the first 2 or 3,
it takes a while.
It
you
took
gotta watch about 3, 4. I mean,
3 or 4 episodes. And then they got their own groove going in season 1, and it is laugh out loud funny almost every time. It is
There's
so
some
good.
really good shows out there. The Queen's Gambit, have you
I've
seen
heard that?
That's
I've heard about
fabulous.
Yeah.
That's really a great
The Crown?
series. The Crown, I've watched that. That's fantastic. So there's quite a few out there to keep you busy. I've never watched so much TV. I feel like I'm turning into a marshmallow.
Yeah.
I got to get out and get some exercise. I'm going to start skiing next week. So
I do Tai Chi with Living Younger Longer. We do Tai Chi about 5-6 days a week, and hope we either do it Zoom if it's cold like today, or we go out in a park and do it. And it's marvelous because you are moving and keeping things going. It's very
You know, you can still
meditative.
snowshoe, you can still
Yeah.
alpine ski, or you can
Right.
downhill ski. All those things are available, you know, wherever you live. You can still go out and
Yeah.
hike and walk and get snowshoes. Get a pair of snowshoes, walk in the woods. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter you're in Colorado.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of really wonderful things to do, and we've got to find those things. And so I'll start. I'm a skier, so everybody knows that. I talk about it all the time. So I will get my season pass, and I'm taking a day off next week, and I start my every Wednesday ski trip coming up soon. Because
Is that
I
your favorite
figure
area?
you got to be as safe as there is. I go to
Oh my
Loveland.
God, yeah. Okay.
But I
I love
love
Loveland.
okay. Loveland ski area, in my opinion, is the best kept secret in Denver.
Yeah.
It's cold. I mean, if you're at the top by the Continental Divide, you might be like -20.
That's where I learned
and it's
to ski.
windy, but oh my God, it is so beautiful. And just put on the right equipment; it doesn't bother you.
I learned to ski there in the 1970s, and I couldn't afford ski pants, and so I
Oh.
took jeans and waterproofed them. It doesn't work.
You
It
freeze your rear
doesn't
end off.
work. But that's where I learned to ski. Was lovely, and it was great because
It
you
still is.
take a bus up there and ski.
360 vertical acres, I believe.
Yeah,
and,
it's wonderful. Except when the wind's blowing literally at the Continental Divide at the top of that number 2 chairlift.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And now they've got new chairs that go up even further, up on the
Oh.
other side. And there's a lot of terrain. And the terrain is marked well, and they
It's
do a great
40
job.
minutes.
Yeah, just like that, you're there. So anyway, I'm gonna go up there.
Good.
And I figure skiing's safe because you're already wearing helmets, goggles, masks. I mean, you're cold, right? You got
Yeah.
stuff on like this: helmets, goggles, masks, gloves. You'd have to get through about 25 layers.
You would.
to get sick on skiing.
Mask and goggles, that's the key.
Oh, I know it is. And so anyway, so that'll be, my season will start next week, and I'm very,
Great.
very
Good for
excited.
you.
Of course, I'm gonna give a shameless plug right now to Larson Sports and Paul Morrison, one of our high school buddies who works there. Go there, they have great deals on equipment and rental, and Paul knows exactly, he's the best ski fitter in town, I think.
Best in town.
Yeah.
Very good.
So go there and
Go there.
tell Paul we sent you. I sent you.
Absolutely.
All right, and so let's talk a little bit about, let's go back to, what do you think is the largest or the biggest problem we're going to have in terms of overcoming the fear that the election was stolen? Let's go back to that a little bit.
Oh.
Because, you know, a lot of people believe, and, you know, and I'm not going to, you know, they believe it. It's not true, but
Right.
to them it is true.
Yeah.
And so how do people, where can they find good sources of information? What can we do to share information so that people are coming? We have to come from the same truth points, or we're never going to get there as a
Yeah.
country.
We can't have alternative facts. We
No,
just
there's no
have
such
facts.
thing anyway. You know that as an attorney.
Yeah,
There's no such thing.
Kellyanne Conjob, that was the worst
Oh, I hate
phrase
her.
she ever came up with.
Yeah, it was like, all
I
right.
rename people. I have a name for her. But yeah, we need to, it's difficult because of the internet. When you and I grew up, there was ABC, CBS, NBC,
In public.
and public radio, and public television, and then
Newspapers.
newspapers. And that was it. And journalism had integrity, had standards. Now people go to the news they want to hear. And I don't know how we're ever going to get beyond that.
Well-
But if we, I don't know how we get to.
I
how we get
actually have a
beyond
thought on that, and
Okay,
I'll tell you
good.
what it is.
Tell
We
me.
also used to have what was called truth in advertising and truth in broadcasting laws.
Yes.
The FCC enforced rules that the commercials had to be true, and if they weren't, you could be sued not only for running them, but for creating them and writing them. And there was also truth in broadcasting rules. Those were let go in the Reagan era when they deregulated, the FCC
That's a
deregulated.
good point.
So we don't have those rules anymore. If we did, the news we see both on either side of the aisle would be dramatically different.
That'd be great.
And they should clearly have to mark. We used to clearly have to say, this is my opinion. It is not the opinion of the station.
Right.
It is not, it is
Yeah.
an opinion.
Remember
And
they used to say commentary?
Mhm.
Eric
They have that
Severide was
across the
talking and say
screen.
commentary
We need to
across
go
the screen.
back. I mean, if I
Yeah.
were in office, the things that I would do immediately would be, first thing I'd do is I'd put back the truth in advertising and the truth in broadcast laws.
Right.
And make sure that people have to identify that it's an opinion. It has to be identified multiple times during the show. And that if anyone is blatantly lying, they could lose their license to broadcast, which would be worth millions and millions of dollars. We need to go back to that.
Right.
That's critical if the country's going to heal, I believe. I mean, some regulation is good, folks.
If we could get leaders, multiracial, ethnicities, and of both sides to come together and talk. If people talk to one another, they'll find out they have so much in common, but we're not talking to each other and we're not listening to each other. And so, but I try to listen and I try to watch many different sources of news and read many newspapers and stuff, but it's hard to get people to listen to you that don't want to listen to you.
No,
they want to hear what they want to hear.
And they want to, and they take the things that they're hearing, that on both sides that are just crazy and believe it. Things that are absolutely insane. Like there are Republicans out there, or Trumplicans out there, that truly believe the Democrats are all socialists or communists, and that's not true. They don't understand the difference. And I think taking civics, we need to put civics back in our classrooms.
I didn't know it ever left.
Well, it's not in there as much as it used to be. And it needs to be required not only at every level, elementary school, high school, and college, to get a degree, because they don't understand. They don't understand we're a democratic republic.
Right.
They don't understand what that means. They don't understand, let's get rid of the electoral college. I'm a big fan of that.
I'm a very big fan of that. One person, one vote.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we don't need what was first of all, when it was put in place, the only people that could vote were people that owned land. And they would elect their own person, and they didn't have good mail. It'd take them a month to get a letter to somewhere.
Right.
So they had to empower those people and send them there and negotiate on their behalf, and then they would come together and vote for a president. It's so different today.
Yeah.
And there's no way 26% of the country should be controlling the majority of the population.
Right. That's the other thing. I think we also need term limits on the Supreme Court, and that it's known that every, like maybe 18-year term limits, rotating.
Or age limit.
Yeah, well, or just a term limit, and if someone dies before that, fine, but so that there's not a death watch on waiting for someone to die so they can hurry, and appoint someone new while this president's still in power. Our democracy shouldn't be run on Las Vegas type odds. I mean,
no, it really shouldn't.
It shouldn't. So if we had term limits, if we had a bigger court,
even if it was 40 years, or 20 years.
18's plenty. If you're on the court 18 years, you've had plenty of input, and then it's rotating, and then it's not that unstable thing. And we need to get away from minority rule of the country right now. And
yeah, that's exactly, because that's what it is. It's all minority rule.
That's what he's doing right now. He's
because and the gerrymandering has allowed that.
Right.
So those are things that need to stop
happening. And if we could get both sides to talk, they'd realize that the Democrats are just as patriotic as the Republicans.
Of course they are.
I mean, I have a flag out in front of my house almost every day.
Me too.
I love this country. I'm in favor of the little guy and gal that doesn't have a voice, because the corporations, I think, will take care of themselves. But I understand the corporate argument too. So let's get together. Let's make our country better, and we'll all win.
Yeah, that's exactly, and we can't do that with a divisive president, and that was my biggest problem with Trump, is that not only does he lie, but he was divisive, and he was segmenting people out and pitting them against each other intentionally, and people are falling down that rabbit hole. All of us did.
I'm so excited with Kamala Harris.
I love her.
She is so smart, and it's just breaking a barrier both with minorities and with women and with immigrants, or a daughter of immigrants, and I think she's going to do marvelous things.
I do too, and I think Biden's the right man to be in there right now.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired of all the bullshit that he's senile and all this other stuff. He has a stutter, and if you are comfortable making fun of somebody with a special issue, like a special need like that, then there's something wrong with you, not him.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be the right guy. I think people are going to be surprised with. He's much more conservative than a lot of Democrats want.
More conservative than me, but I think
he's probably right about where I am. I'm not. Yeah, people think I'm crazy liberal. I'm not. I'm just a Trump hater because I know what he was doing to our country, and he's a fascist, and he was taking people down a rabbit hole to lead our country into fascism, and it's a very. If you read a lot of books on it, how it happens, it can happen.
A little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. But look at over the past 4 years, we said, it can't get any lower. The bar can't go any lower. And it did, day after day after day, until this week. It continued to. So
and it's not over yet.
No.
It's not over yet. But I'm going to tell you, if you're marching in camouflage and carrying rifles, I don't care what side you're on, and you're trying to storm courthouses, and you're trying to kidnap governors, and you're trying to force an overturn an election, you are not an American.
And
I don't care, you can call yourself American all you want to, but you are not one.
Peaceful marches in fact, Rhonda and I went to the Women's March.
It was great.
Peaceful march on a Saturday. Black Lives Matter, I went to many of those. Very, very peaceful. But sometimes, I guess, at night it got out of hand. I wonder who was really behind that. Who knows?
Well, there's been both sides behind that.
Yeah. So, but, that's a great thing. We can peacefully assemble, make our voice heard, but then come together and talk and resolve things and move forward. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, I believe that with all my heart, and I think we're going to have to both give a little. I mean, both sides are going to have to give a little to make this happen. but it's worth saving. Our country's worth saving.
It is.
And I do think that people are going to be very pleasant. I think some Democrats are not going to be happy with Biden. I'm going to be honest with you. But I think the republicans are going to be more happy with him than they think.
Yeah,
because he is very much a middle of the road.
So what are you looking forward to doing after the world is healthy and
I'm going to Uranus.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what you want to do.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Jeez, Robert. No,
it's just planetary astrology.
I'm playing one of my dearest friends on the earth is this woman I mentioned, Balls, and we were in sorority together in college, and we've been planning a trip to Uranus, Missouri. So we're going to Uranus, and we're gonna, they have a fudge factory there, so we're gonna check out the fudge in Uranus.
I am not touching that one. No
you asked.
way.
You
I didn't know that's what was going on.
People can actually get married in Uranus. Yep. Yep. That's what I'm going to do.
I want to travel. I want to travel.
We're going to travel.
Yeah.
I'm going to retire in 2021, either in June or I'm going to wait to the end of the year. I'm not sure which. So I'm ready to slow back and volunteer a lot.
Yeah.
And
you can do a dose with Historic Denver.
I could. I'd love that.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm involved with Camp Wapi Yapi, which is a children's camp for children with cancer. And
that's
I
a good one to donate to.
Oh,
I
my
donate
God.
to them. That's wonderful
He
because if you don't know what Camp Wapi Yapi is, Rhonda's very, very involved with it. But it's a camp that takes children with cancer and their siblings who don't have cancer and take them to a camp where they don't have to think about the cancer for a while because it affects the kids with cancer and the kids without. And it lets them be kids. It's a marvelous, marvelous organization. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I love that
It's a
place.
great one to donate to for Christmas, too.
And oh yeah, it is. It's fantastic. And if you're at your end, and also if you're one of those people that needs to figure out how to save some taxes, it's part of a special child care tax credit district.
Oh.
You have to donate more than $250 to get it.
Really?
But then it comes right off. Parts of that come right off of your income tax, your Colorado tax. So you get
Cool.
it back. Or you get a good part of it back. So it's Camp Wapi Yapi, WAPI, and I intend to volunteer and be a part of them, even though I'm retiring for many years to come.
Good for you.
They're great.
They're a great
So that's what I
organization.
intend to do. We've got my husband Patty and Robert and Patty have the exact same birthday.
Exact
year.
same.
Mhm.
Exact same.
Yeah, they're twins. And so,
Yeah.
well, all right, he's the bigger twin.
He is.
but so we're both, I think he's going to work a couple more years, but we're both looking forward to slowing our life down a bit. I think what's happened in the COVID, some of the good things that have happened, is we've realized that it's nice to slow down.
Yeah.
And we've really enjoyed spending more time together. It's been a lot of years since we've had private, quiet time together with each other. And that was desperately needed in our life, and that's been very beneficial. So,
Yeah,
a lot of good things.
retirement is a gift. It's so wonderful, and you think you're not going to be busy, and you find out you're so busy. Well, the virus hit, and that changed it a bit, but every day you wake up and think, I've got to get all these things done, and who knows what they are, and that's the beauty of it. And then in the middle of it, all of a sudden you'll see a movie on and go, oh, I think I'll just cancel all that and I'll watch this movie. If you happen to, I never turn the TV on until about 4 or 5 o'clock at night. I have too much to do, reading books and
Just getting caught up on life and enjoying yourself.
It's good.
And, Sue Davies, who went to college with us, she's in Illinois. Hi, Sue. She said, take photos when you go. I think she's referring to the Uranus trip. Take photos of Uranus. I don't think you could do that, can you? Post those photos of Uranus? I'm not sure.
There are those people that find ways to do
Maybe. No, actually, bringing that up, and then we'll kind of close with this, but the Uranus trip is part of what's going to be known as the Nasty Road Trip. We've picked all the names of all the cities that are nasty, and we're going to do a road trip to them. So there's like, I'll have to tell you, there's hell, and we got to do them in the right order. So there's like, you can go to Uranus, you can go to Dildo, you can go you can go to, the Intercourse, Pennsylvania. You can go, there's a whole list, and finally you end up in hell. But, so, we're going to do a road trip, and we're going to test it out, and then we're going to take a bus.
Drive a Dodge Ram.
And we're going to do a blog, and Henry's going to have us do cut-ins, so it's going to be this great big deal. And we're eventually going to do a bus and see if people want to go on a nasty road trip.
Oh.
And just go and have beer and have fun and go to all those crazy places. So.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and have fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. And so anyway, Sue, you can jump on the bus, when we get it ready.
I want to be
Bus to hell. We're going to take the bus to hell.
I want to feel comfortable being on a plane again.
Oh, yeah.
I missed that part.
Yeah,
But
I
no,
missed
no
her.
writing, no complaining.
And I want
but-
to see my daughter in South Carolina,
Yes.
Leah. I miss her. And
Yeah.
I want to meet her new boyfriend, Donovan, who is, I think, a very nice young man.
Great.
I can't tell because haven't met him and saw him eye to eye yet, so you got to get, But everything I can tell, he is just a wonderful young man. So we're
Marvelous.
very thrilled that she's has a boyfriend at all. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. Please take her off right. There's
She's
a dowry.
pretty.
There's a dowry in it for you.
She's pretty, of course
she
she
can
is.
sing.
Oh my God!
And
I've heard her voice a couple times. On some posted, she gives me chills. I love strong, powerful women's voices, and she's got it. Oh, she can sing.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing, and
She
she's
is.
a fantastic chef, and so it's been a little rough for her. So she's doing her own business right now, where she's making meals, prep, and delivering it to people's homes.
Nice.
And hopefully we'll be able to get back into fine dining. She's a very, very fine, elegant dining chef, and her food is amazing.
I like fine eating.
And my other daughter, we have to say hi to her and her
Okay.
husband. She works for the state. She works for CDOT. So patch the holes, will you?
Oh yeah.
I always call her up saying, "Fix my pothole." And she's like, "That's not in my department. Fix my That's not in our department."
Well, we first need the money for it, and they're taking money from everything else because of the COVID.
Yeah, I know.
So,
and
it's
her
a tough
husband
job.
works. Her husband he's an angel. He's one of those angels like Kathy Meyer. Mays. He
she's
works for
awesome.
Mental Health of Denver. He's the prescriptive authority and has patients.
Oh wow.
And that's a tough group. It's
That's
a lot
a
of
tough
homeless.
job.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
He is truly an honorable, wonderful young man. So
Yeah.
we're very blessed, and we're going to remember all those blessings this holiday season.
Yeah.
And we'll share them with each other at
And I'm
another
going to
time.
sing again too. I can't wait to go
yeah.
to rehearsal and sing with my fellow choir members because we might not be able to right now, but it's still in our hearts, it's still in our soul, and we want to sing. I mean,
Singing.
rehearsal itself is just going to be thrilling because we're,
I can't
singing
wait
with
for
that
music
event.
to come back
Yeah.
and go to theater and go to live
No,
performances.
God, yes,
Remember,
yes.
we're going to do the show in your backyard.
We were. We had no idea that COVID was going to last so long.
Yeah.
We were some crazy idea we were going to do the show.
We're
like,
going to put up a tent like the Little Rascals and do a show in the backyard.
3-4 weeks, we'll be doing the show, and then we learned that wasn't.
So
gonna
we're still going
happen,
to do that. We're still going to do the show on your back patio. We're going to get all of us together, and we're going to do some kind of a silly act.
All right.
I won't
Fine.
sing because I can't sing, but I'll direct.
That'd be fine. That'd be fine. All around the 130-year-old ash tree there.
Yeah, that'll be perfect. Hope that's okay.
I touched it once. I was told not to touch that. I did.
I knew you
once.
would touch it.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I touched things.
But yeah, I think that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And we'll just invite the people we like.
All of my friends. both
All
of them.
500 of them. We're gonna we'll end
Both of
up
them.
selling out the DCPA if we're not careful.
Oh yeah, I want to go to plays.
I want to go to the DCPA.
Symphony, yeah.
I want to see a Broadway show again.
Yes.
I want to go to New
Imagine
York.
how I feel. Broadway shows.
I'm going to go to Europe too. That's
Yeah.
that's a thing
I'm
we're
going to
going to do in
Germany and find
2022.
my
So.
my great grandparents are buried. And I know where they're buried now, so I'm going to go find their graves and then walk around and see if anyone looks like me.
Yeah, we went. I've been to Europe. Very fortunate. I went to school there for a while, and then I've been there many times. And my grandparents' village in Italy, we drove it. A whole bunch of us went. My mother, my aunt, my cousins, all the kids, my daughter. And we pulled into this village, and every person in the village was the same height as my grandmother. Like all the women were 4'11", like my daughter, and all the men were about 5'5". And we were like, it's like a whole village of tiny little mountain people. It was so cute.
Do you speak any Italian?
Well, I understand a bit of it, and I speak it, and what I mostly speak are dirty words. But
Well, those are good. I took 2 years.
I can tell you to shut up. I can tell you to stop that. Don't touch this. Hand me a fork. Hand me a napkin. I'm hungry. Things like that, but not.
I took 2 years of Italian as an adult in night classes, and I can say that in Italian, and it's a memorized phrase, and they think, "Wow, that sounds really good," and then they come flooding back.
I know.
That was it. Slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah, but I think it's just the most beautiful language.
It really is, and
To the
I
ear.
don't have much trouble understanding it, but I have trouble kind of speaking back.
Ah.
And I get the gist of what they're saying because a lot of it's sign language anyway.
Yeah, Italians talk with their hands.
But my grandparents spoke it in the home, and when I grew up, my grandparents, my mom, my aunts, and they all spoke it at family meetings and
Yeah.
dinners and things like that. And it's so I get it, and it probably with very little. If I was there, when I was there, let's put it this way: when I was
Yeah.
there going to school, when I've been there visiting, I'd pick it up pretty quick.
It does. It comes
Yeah.
back. I took 3 years of German in college, and I'm proficient. But the longer I'm in Germany, the better it gets because you just keep immersing yourself in it. But
You do,
it helps.
It's cool, and I just so I've got some plans. I'm going to do a lot of things, hopefully, depending on money and
Go and
health.
have friends over for dinner without masks, and
I know.
and
And
hug, yes,
hug.
yeah, hug.
So, and we're getting close, folks, so don't give up on it.
Yes.
Don't give up. We don't need more people dying every day than died
No.
in 9/11, or than died in all of our wars combined right now.
And another thing
you
too
know.
with the vaccines, these were done with people that were being masked and socially distanced. So when we get the vaccine, we're also going to need to mask and socially distance until
Enough
we
people have
truly
it.
do have herd immunity done the right way.
Yes.
But so what? So what? So you have to wear a mask. Who cares?
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
You can have a hemp mask and inhale.
And you know what? If you're getting Botox around your eyes, then you
I
don't have
know.
any wrinkles, and you're going to look like
Look
you're
at-
20 with a mask on.
I mean, look at this. 50% of my wrinkles
Yeah.
are gone.
Looks like overnight. It's cheaper too. It's cheaper.
Yeah, just a
All right. Well, listen, we're going to have to end the show. Robert
Wow, this went
Eastman has
fast.
been my guest today.
This went fast.
I adore you, really, and Patrick. You guys are incredible. You're wonderful community people. You donate. You help. You're smart. You're all the things. No, really, I'm serious about
I
this.
know, you're being very sweet and
And
embarrassed.
and you're a little bit of a pain in the ass, but
Sometimes I try to be.
But I love you sharing your wisdom with us and what's going on in Denver and about the historic Denver, because you can't take those tours. And it's 4
Yeah.
o'clock, so I better hop off the air.
Bye, it's been fun.
It's been a whole lot of fun. Let me I'll just be quiet while I do this, because we don't want to be talking over the music.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, we done?
Oh, yeah.
That was fun.
Oh,
We weren't even.
Yeah, turn this one off.
Oh.
Say goodbye to the cameras.
Bye.
All right, bye, everybody.